Back to Staples, AD is speaking with Mike in the media.
Hey, AD, since you got here, fourth quarters have typically been a strong point. I just wondered if tonight's was in its own right, kind of its own occasion, or if it was something that was building throughout the double-digit leads and such that you saw throughout the game.
They were making tough shots. We stopped playing defense. We had a lot of turnovers late that we could have avoided. Other teams did the same thing to the Clippers. Down 22, come back win. Our defense was really good to start the game. Even in the first half. And I think we gave them a 33-point third quarter. To come out of halftime, defense just wasn't there. And then they made some tough shots late in the fourth. But it was all controllable. It wasn't nothing that they really did. Our rotation was bad. Getting backdoored, wide open shots from the perimeter, wasn't getting back in transition, wasn't talking and matching up. So every time we did that, it seemed like they made us pay.
And down the stretch, what would you have liked to have seen on the offensive end of the floor in terms of maybe settling less for jump shots and attacking more? And how did that play out as the quarter went on? It seemed like it built on itself.
Like to see us make some shots. We passed on a couple of shots. McKinney hit a three on a wing, I think in the corner. They passed on. I had a shot at the top of the key. Mid-range that I missed. But I feel like we played into the clock a lot. We didn't run a lot. We didn't get a chance to run in that fourth quarter because we wasn't getting stops. And we missed free throws down the stretch. So, like I said, that's a team who's got enough power to score and to win basketball games, but we have to do a better job on both ends.
Dan?
AD, there are nights where teams lose and the other team plays better and you just got to move on. How does this team handle a loss where you walk off the court and you feel like this one's on us? How does this team kind of process those kinds of losses?
We know we're a good team. We know teams are going to come out and play their best against us. But the way we lost, we don't like. Obviously, we got to look back at the film and see where we can be better. But we've always bounced back. We don't like losing two in a row. And so our next game, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to win that game. And so, nobody in that locker room likes to lose. But, this was a tough one. It's one that we for sure should have won. So this one hurts a little bit more, but we'll watch the film, when we get back together and try to figure out how to get better and get ready for Milwaukee.
Bill?
AD, you just listed all the self-inflicted wounds along the way in the second half. How much of that do you chalk up to taking your foot off the gas in this because you did have that early lead, and then what kind of lesson do you take from that going into the rest of the year?
I don't think we took our foot off the gas. I think we just, I think we were just kind of settling for a lot of jumpers on the offensive end. They were there, but we still could have got to the paint. Anytime we got to the paint in the first half, we had some good looks. We were, one-shot basketball a lot in the second half. And on the defensive end, I think they started, making shots. Steph started making shots, getting layups. We fouled a lot. They got to the free throw line, made shots, got to the paint. Wiggins got open 3 times, I think in a row. So it's just things that we could do better. And like I say, anytime we did anything wrong on the defensive end, it seemed like they made us pay.
Last two. Dave?
The defensive sequence where you guarding Steph out at the top of the key, did you think he was going to pull a step back in that situation? And you just walk me through that possession.
No, he made a great move, hit a great shot. There's nothing, more to it. And they came off the screen. Took one dribble, did a little step back. I backed up and then tried to contest and made a tough shot.
Jim Alexander.
Yeah, losing a game like this, and now you're going on an extended road trip. But this year, what's different about playing on the road? Is it different from anything you've ever experienced before, just because of the number one, the conditions, and then number two, the protocols? What is that like?
It's the same as any other year except with no fans. You get in the city, you in your hotel. You go through your team meetings and you go to the game. And the game day routine stuff is exactly the same. I don't think anything's changed for the road. And so the only thing they added in was testing, but the rest of the stuff is the same to me.
But road teams are playing better this year. I mean, now is there an explanation there?
I mean, there's no fans, so that home crowd isn't there. To get the home team, amped up when they're going to run, screaming and things like that. So, it's territory anytime, any game is played, whether it's home or away. So I think that's the only difference. Like I said before, the fans, there's no that energy in the arena for the home team like there usually is.
Thanks so much, AD.
Haven't seen you guys get outscored in a fourth quarter like that in a while. What did you see as the breakdowns, and did they have anything to do with the way the game had evolved to that point?
I think we had some tough breaks, some tough calls against us in the second half that kind of slowed our pace down. And it just slowed everything down. We couldn't get back into a rhythm after the game was slowed down a little bit, and they did a great job of countering that. So something we can learn from, and it's always great to have games like that.
Yeah, what's the balance between frustration at a loss that you feel like you should have had, and then also kind of acknowledgement of the bigger picture for you?
Oh, well, I mean, obviously you're frustrated anytime you lose, especially when you could have played better, and we know we could play much better. So you learn from all of that, and apply it to the next game.
Bill.
Hey, LeBron, you had a couple of travels in the fourth quarter, specifically that first one. I think after, you just want to talk us through this then?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've seen him on replays, and it's a move I've been making pretty much my whole career. And if that's the call that's going to be called travel, then I would like to see it across the whole board. Every game, and it consistent like that. I mean, it's so funny because the very next play, Draymond gets into the lane and slides his foot, and it's not called, and the same official who called me for the travel is right there on the play and told me he didn't travel. So that's definitely, something that I got to be more, leery about, but I have not been called for travels like that in my career.
Kyle.
Hey, LeBron, as a team, I think you guys only had 4 fast break points and on that last possession before the timeout. It looked like you might have a transition opportunity. Do you guys feel like you were attacked enough in transition on offense tonight?
I think at times, including myself, we settled for the perimeter shot in transition instead of attacking to the rim. But, we've been pretty good at that all year. And, some games you're going to have, we would love to be in transition more, but you got to get stops, one, to be in transition. And in the fourth quarter, they did a good job of not allowing us to get too many stops.
Dave.
Kyle Kuzma said that it's a 72-game season, and maybe it's going to be hard to keep the urgency up. Is there some human nature complacency going on here that could have been part of the recipe tonight?
No.
Dan.
LeBron, you guys probably won't play very many games this season where you and AD combined to score, I think, 36 points or something like that offensively. Why was it so disjointed, do you think, for the two of you guys offensively tonight?
I mean, both of us was just a little bit out of rhythm, and And I think, we're going to have games like that this year where we're out of rhythm. The best thing about our team is we had guys that picked us up. Dennis was great. Trez again coming off the bench was great. Kuz, got hot for us a little bit in that third, made some shots for us. So, when times where we both are just a little bit out of rhythm, we have the ability to have our teammates that picked us up and still give us a chance to win, which we had tonight.
Last three, Melissa.
Hey, LeBron. We're approaching the 1-year anniversary of Kobe's death, and you obviously have done so much to honor him, including winning a title in his honor. I'm curious, when you think back to the events of that day, how do you process the emotions of it and just sort of the emotions of the year that followed afterwards?
Try not to take myself back to that position or that place or that time frame. Obviously, he's looking down on us, along with Gigi, and just proud of what we're trying to do here as an organization. And hopefully we continue to make him proud as well and make her proud to wear the purple and the gold every night. So I don't want to live in the past. I definitely don't want to live out that day again. So, it's about always continue to move forward and continue to live on his legacy.
Last two, Mark Medina.
Hey, LeBron, in two-part here in lieu of Martin Luther King Day, you had shared in the bubble that you were reading the autobiography of Malcolm X. So I was wondering, is there a book about Martin Luther King or one of his speeches that really resonates with you? And what do you draw from how both Martin Luther King and Malcolm X brought about change on the
I've never read an autobiography of Martin Luther King. Obviously I grew up in school, you get taught a little bit about him, especially during Black History Month, things of that nature. But as I continue to grow and continue to come into myself, you just read a lot of his teachings, a lot of his speeches, a lot of his forecomings and things that he believed in and things that he preached that would be better for the change of America and change for better people. So, when you just look at some of his most famous quotes and things that he was able to say to the people and believe in, it's things that we're going through right now. It's things that if we apply, then it will make our society a lot better. He was a man of the people, and he had a lot of power. And that's why he was ultimately gunned down, unfortunately, because of the power that he had for the people. People resonated with him. People believed in him. People wanted to walk with him and talk with him and be with him. You just live on. His legacy, along with Malcolm X, continues to live on about what they preached and what they believed in.
For you guys losing the game tonight?
Sense of urgency. I think that's the biggest thing that really happened from a team perspective. Anytime having a lead going up 17-20, you kind of always, I wouldn't say always, but there's an area where you can, take your foot off the gas, and that's kind of what we did, and stop scoring and stop defending first section, and they got back in the game.
Yeah, you mentioned the defense. You guys came in as the top-rated defense in the entire league, but tonight, especially in that second half, he gave up, I believe it was 67 points, and guys like Eric Paschal kind of kept getting through the defense and scoring on layups. Did you kind of see the same thing too?
Yeah, I don't want to downgrade someone like him because he's a good player in this league, young player, but they just had a lot of different opportunities to score. We just put our foot off the gas, missed some rotations, allowing people to get behind the defense and score, like you kind of just said. And, Steph hit a couple of shots. Oubre had a few layups. It happens. It's a long season. It's kind of hard to keep that sense of urgency of the team for 72 games, and we just let one slip. So.
And Kyle, last one from me. You guys have been really shooting well from three-point range. Didn't happen tonight for you guys. Was that kind of a talk in the locker room? Offense kind of fell apart in the defense as well, as you've mentioned.
No, nobody's never really worried, honestly. I don't want to downplay losses, but everybody has the same spirit they've had all year. Does suck to lose, but it's not like we're dying in there.
Thank you.
Next up, it's a 7-game road trip for the Lake Show, starting with the Bucks on Thursday. Then on Saturday, they play the Bulls. And then LeBron returns to Cleveland to take on the Cavs on the 25th, fourth game of the road trip. City of brotherly love, Philadelphia, then Detroit. The final two games are not on that schedule. It is Boston and Atlanta. So a lot of tough games, 7 games in 12 days, James. So the Lakers will get tested, and you hate to leave and go out on that road trip with a bad taste in your mouth like tonight.
You remember the movie Cool Hand Luke, right?
Mm-hmm.
Got to get your mind right.
Got to get your mind right.
Before you go out on this road trip, because they dropped the bomb against Golden State, and they know they should have won. Kuz said it the best. You know, you take your foot off the gas, you let your guard down, you kind of let your success, you know, you take it for granted. Now they're going to be tested on the road. They've been successful on the road, but teams a little bit of experience. Oklahoma, Houston's going through their thing. Now they're going to Milwaukee. They got some teams. We're going to see what they are.
True story. When you and I were watching Cool Hand Luke, Allie was not born yet.
Watching what?
Thank you. Failure to communicate. 19-5-5 for LeBron.
What we have here is failure
to communicate.
To communicate. You'll watch it, Alex.
Yeah, I threw it to LeBron. You guys can go.
Hey, LeBron, we haven't seen you guys get outscored in a fourth quarter like that in a while. What did you see as the breakdowns, and did they have anything to do with the way the game had evolved to that point?
I think we had some tough breaks, some tough calls against us in the second half that kind of slowed our pace down. You know, and it just slowed everything down. We couldn't get back into a rhythm after the game was slowed down a little bit, and they did a great job of countering that. So something we can learn from, and you know, it's always great.